Hello everyone. I am live again with yet another episode of Bring Your Own Sunshine. In today's series, I am going to invite none other than Dr. Sonal Sisodia, who is principal of Daily College of Business Management. A very good afternoon, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Ankita. I'm doing fine, wonderful, and so nice to connect.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I think, first of all, we should say a very happy birthday, however, belated happy birthday to you. And yesterday was your birthday. And yesterday
Yes,
I
yes,
saw on your story one thing that you have your students from
yes,
Daily College of Business Management. They have
yes,
actually won Management Premier League as well. So, what a
correct.
treat they have given to you, ma'am, on your
Yes,
birthday.
certainly.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And it was actually, like you rightly mentioned, that one of the best birthday gifts the students could have given. And it was, of course, a very proud moment. That is how it was.
Actually, ma'am,
And
I think for mentors, it is everything. That's the
yes,
best birthday.
certainly. And at the management level, when we are teaching students in management fraternity, it is very important that they come up with the leadership skills. And that is what always has been the aim. And this is what we try doing here at DCBM also, that how can we be instilling that leadership qualities amongst our students. And I'm so
And,
glad and happy that they are always there to cheer us up and to make us feel so proud.
and ma'am, who can be like a better leader than you? Of course, I can trust that. Before I move further, I would like to give a brief detail about my series that is Bring Your Own Sunshine, hashtag BYOS.
Mm.
Now, Bring Your Own Sunshine brings certain illustrious personalities from various
Yes,
walks of life. And this series promises to deliver some engaging conversations with those eminent personalities who are excelling in their field. And in this series, today we have Dr. Sonal Sisodia. So
wonderful.
now I will take honor to introduce Ma'am. Ma'am is principal of Daily College of Business Management. She is an MBA graduate as well as she has done her PhD in management from Ajmer University. Apart from being seasoned educationist, she is an acclaimed researcher. She is a corporate trainer. She is an amazing mentor and she is a purpose coach. She has been mentoring students for more than 2 decades now, both undergraduate and postgraduate. She has been conducting MDPs as well as consulting assignments, and she has been engaging herself in high quality research. Ma'am has got huge, diverse awards, I would say. So I was just looking into her profile. I was super impressed. And each of the award I have mentioned in the post. But few awards I would like to mention over here. Ma'am got Manu Bhai Shah Memorial Resonance Gold Medal. She got Best Research Award as well. She get Best PhD Thesis Award as well, Best Research Paper, Best Case Study, Research Excellent Award 2022, ISA 2021 Award for Contribution to Education Community. Talking about her corporate training, she's vigorously involved in a lot of corporate trainings, I think all across India. So I think you have traveled to almost all the cities and have been doing a lot of trainings. So the notable one are IM Indore, IMA, and then I think there's so many I have put in the post as well. So I think viewers can go and see the profile of ma'am for sure. Apart from that, ma'am is a trainer of Smart Girls program as well. She is an independent director of Sava Healthcare Pune. So such a versatile personality. Very multifaceted, ma'am. How you manage it?
It all comes from people like you who are empowering us. And
Oh,
this is
ma'am.
how women should be doing, that we should be empowering each other.
Mhm.
So when you called me up for this particular series, so I was very excited, not just because I get to feature on this, but more because of your title, which says that bring your own sunshine. And this kind of a title tells how confident you are about you, about other leading women as well. Because this is actually true that the sunshine that we can bring as women is something which we can spread across the world. And when we get to lead, that is more important because then we actually make it more contagious. So when you are dealing with the students, when you are mentoring them, I'm sure you are passing on your charisma to them. And this is what we also, as women educators, we also wish to do. That we want that every student who is in touch with us, we are trying to become their mentor. We would like to facilitate things for them. Sometimes it could be a hand holding thing. Sometimes it could be maybe a carrot and stick approach also, because that also works very well. Sometimes you have to tell people that yes, aim for certain things. And when you aim at stars, you at least land at the tree. So this is what has been the journey so far. That a little sunshine you spread, and along with that, keep up the morals high. Integrity is the most important thing I feel. As women leaders, what will make you stand apart is your integrity. This is what I feel.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. And I think that's really important what you said, integrity. And I think leadership roles have also transformed, which we'll be discussing also. I think earlier women were trying to fit into the male shoes, but now she is bringing some new things. She has better relationship. She's more empathetic, I would say.
Of course.
She is more emotionally intelligent also. So I think the
Absolutely.
new traits that women are bringing, I think that is commendable, and it is completely changing the scenario of role of leadership.
Certainly.
So one thing more I would like to mention about ma'am, which I think missed out, and ma'am is a professional certified marketer trainer of American Management Association, so which is very remarkable. And apologies if anything I have missed, ma'am. So again and
No, no,
again,
not at
I am just asking the viewers to check my post once.
all. No, no, certainly, certainly.
Yeah, so I think topic introduction, ma'am has already done, leading the charge, how women are breaking the barriers. So I think all across the world, women are challenging the stereotypes. They are breaking the glass ceilings, as well as they're pushing the boundaries in order to achieve success, as well as to achieve equality. She is chasing her dreams. She's accomplishing her goals. She's believing in herself. She's attaining professional accomplishment along with personal fulfillment. So, what a feat for the women, I would say. More power to women and all the men who supports women. So I would say that women of today is very fierce. She's fearless and she's flawed also. And she's okay with being flawed. I mean, she's okay with her imperfections. She don't want to please everybody now. She knows and she does what is right.
Certainly, certainly.
Yeah. So I think this topic, which is like a limelight, but a bit of debatable also. So with this, let us get started with the questionnaire with the ma'am, because she is a management business maestro. So I think she is one of the best person I would look up to answer these questions and address this topic.
Certainly, certainly.
So, ma'am, my very first question is that nowadays in the contemporary time, women are defying odds, they're embracing challenges. To what extent do you believe, or what is your opinion that the women is successful in attaining that?
See, Ankita, what you have mentioned till now, that
Mm-hmm.
yes, we are trying to defy the odds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes, I always tell these people that it's not great to be called a superwoman.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we love this tag of being a
I
superwoman, that we can
know.
be doing everything. But I tell
Correct.
people
Mm-hmm.
that that is not needed. Why do we have to become superwoman?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just mentioned, that let us also embrace our flaws, our imperfections. why should we be always the one who has the high expectations or that high baggage on our shoulders? That we should be doing this as well as that.
Correct,
What
absolutely.
something which we need to look at is that what is it that I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
how I want to do, and then does it give me happiness or not? So
Mm-hmm.
these three things are most important. That what is it I would want to do,
Mm-hmm.
how I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and does it give me the required happiness or not? So if
Right.
the focus is internal,
Mm-hmm.
if I have internalized this thing, so
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something, but in a way that pleases me. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
some of the ladies, like I was just having a conversation with the leading gynecologist last night, and she
Okay.
called me to
Mm-hmm.
wish me on my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and we were having this conversation, and she said that sometimes what
Mm-hmm.
happens is that even though we as ladies have reached the pinnacle in terms
Mm-hmm.
of the career paths, but still sometimes the expectations of the family members is such that they
Mm-hmm.
would be expecting us to do all that which maybe a homemaker is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So she says that it is fine, it is okay. However, it is not okay for me to do it every day. It might not be
Absolutely.
possible.
Mm-hmm.
Given my expectations at job, it might not be possible that every time I'm cooking for my
Mm-hmm.
kids. But that is how it should be. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I feel like I cook, sometimes she says that when I do not have that much of time, I
Mm-hmm.
do not like that guilt to creep into me, that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to cook for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So this is important, that what is it that gives me happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we want to become superwoman, we want to
Mm-hmm.
do everything, and we want to keep challenging ourselves every day just to fit into that stereotypical picture of what the male dominant society has to say about us. Why should we be doing it? And sometimes as women, we have done it.
Mm-hmm.
We have tried to fit in that particular frame.
Mm-hmm.
If one day we decide that it is okay, we do not want that certificate,
Mm-hmm.
things will be much more peaceful for us. I'm telling you. Try doing it.
Yeah.
This is what I would suggest to everybody.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think those women who are actually trying to balance, we will be talking about balance later on. But if she's trying to balance all the things together, as well as she want to balance her own health, of course, she has to take this stand.
Correct.
And that is all about breaking the barriers.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
yeah.
So barriers in personal life, and then we can also talk about the professional barriers.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about the professional barriers, that time also a woman should not be only targeting on getting success through telling people that she's a lady, so she expects some kind of extra sympathy or
Yeah,
empathy.
I've
That
seen
is
that
not
many
needed.
ladies do. Yes,
Which is
absolutely.
not needed. Why should we?
Mm-hmm.
Also, biologically, when men and women are different,
Mm-hmm.
naturally we should not be talking about being equals. We
Mm-hmm.
should be talking about parity. Now, this parity has to be in terms of the opportunities given
Mm-hmm.
and not in terms of maybe just fighting for our rights.
Mm-hmm.
No. We should be getting same opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
equal opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not mean that we are equal.
Mm-hmm.
That just means that yes, we can do the things in a better manner or
Mm-hmm.
in an equally good manner as that of men. But there are certain areas where we might not be very comfortable doing things. So it is okay. What is it that we are trying to prove? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that emotionally the women are much more
Mm-hmm.
intelligent. We have
Mm-hmm.
seen that. So what happens is there are certain areas which become our forte.
Mm-hmm.
So as an emotionally intelligent leader,
Mm-hmm.
many a times I feel and I also face this issue
Mm-hmm.
that I am able to take better decisions because we use both heart as well as
Mm-hmm.
mind,
Mm-hmm.
because we are emotionally intelligent people
Correct.
and we are good managers at home. So
Mm-hmm.
we will definitely be good managers at work also. Only when
Absolutely.
we understand that yes, this is what is our forte. These are our strengths. If you are able to put those strengths at work, everything is going to be wonderfully well for us.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, this is a very important takeaway which you have mentioned, ma'am. That first of all, we should be out of superwoman syndrome. I think most of women, they're quite exhausted. They're very tired because of all those things. And they're pushing herself, maybe just to prove herself. And that's the glass ceiling or the barrier in front of her on the personal level. And the second point, very important, which you have mentioned, I want to just make a revision or a note of that, is that women has a very important additional quality, that is they are emotionally intelligent.
Correct.
So they can very well manage people, and they can bring that thing not only in her personal relationship but professional work also. So
Yes.
that is very important takeaway. Very nice, ma'am. Very nice. And I think we have, ma'am, a lot of examples, real life examples all around. I was very recently, I was reading the book of Indra Nooyi. I mean, she, the past CEO of PepsiCo. I mean, she belonged to a family which is conservative South Indian,
Right.
where the women should marry in the age of 18, 19, right? So so that is the case, but she actually break the barriers, and she was able to do things which she would have not done if she would have not challenged the things.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, and then I mean, for me, the always a model is Malala. She, the activist from Pakistan. I mean, she was like, attempt for her assassination was done, and Taliban ban and everything. I mean, she was super amazing. So the women like these, I mean, of course, they're breaking the barriers. Now, my next question, ma'am, because you are a female leader, a very prominent female leader. So, for you, what is the definition of success as a female leader? And second, do you think that this definition of success, I mean, that has actually changed or somewhat mutated with your career growth?
Uh, yes. Now, what happens, Ankita, when we as women, when
Mm-hmm.
we start our journey, so you also must have faced the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure so many of our spectators also, or our audience also. At that time, when we are young, so we want to make a mark of ourselves
Mm-hmm.
by getting into a job, right? So that time our expectations are different, and how we go about is also very different.
Mm-hmm.
But as we evolve with age, what
Mm-hmm.
happens is the confidence level becomes very high. And
Mm-hmm.
why that happens? Because you get the taste of success, those little successes every
Correct.
time. So maybe this shining trophy that I've put beside me, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
something which may be a measure of success for me.
Correct.
Why? Because if I am a mentor and if my mentees are successful, that makes me happy and successful. So
Absolutely.
their growth is our growth.
Mm-hmm.
For us to realize that now what is important is the team.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started my career, it was all about being an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to just prove myself. Now, when I get to lead a team,
Mm-hmm.
then the measure of success certainly has changed. So now I want my team to win. The team maybe of the academicians, my people, my
Mm-hmm.
staff, or my students. So this
Mm-hmm.
success is now attributed more to a team win, a collaborative win. So for me, success is collaboration. When I'm
Very
able to
nice.
collaborate with like-minded people, with
Mm-hmm.
like-minded individuals who understand what is it that I want to do, and they are ready to execute it in the finest manner,
Mm-hmm.
be it the staff or students, because they understand that, as one of our management law also mentions, that the organization should always be at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So the interest, if it is your individual interest, that should be a subordinate
Mm-hmm.
to the goals of your organization. So this
Absolutely. Very
is
beautiful.
something, yes. So success for me is when my team wins,
Mm-hmm.
be my staff members, be my faculty members or be it my students. That is what success is for me.
I think, ma'am, the point which you have mentioned, I mean, I am very much in sync with you. I am also very much supportive. Like, the team win is the main win. It's not about the individual who is important, and the team win is actually very crucial, very paramount. And the point of collaboration, I mean, that's super amazing. The way we have collaborated right now,
Correct.
the way you collaborate with like-minded people, your team, I mean, that matters and that creates a difference.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, ma'am, my third question. So we are talking about women breaking the barriers, right? So what are, I mean, as per your observation, what are those top 2 or 3 barriers which women has to face when she progress in a career, or maybe she is having her role as a leader?
Uh, the biggest barrier, I would say, is a
Mm-hmm.
bias. It could be a conscious bias or an unconscious bias.
Mm-hmm.
But there still is a bias
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to working women. And unfortunately, many a times this
Mm-hmm.
bias is found not just at the workplace but at family as well. So at family level or the organizational level, to develop a bias for women. When that happens, so people try to put you down. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
you do, they attribute it. They attribute that success that
Mm-hmm.
because you were a lady, you
Mm-hmm.
got it. So sometimes I feel that merit is not considered,
Mm-hmm.
but that unconscious bias is there that just because you're a lady, you got it. And with little offense to everyone, I would also like to say that when the women is a little attractive,
Mm-hmm.
then the bias is very, very high. So if
Absolutely.
a woman leader is slightly good looking also, the success mostly is attributed to her good looks
Mm-hmm.
or her personality rather
Mm-hmm.
than the merit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a big bias
Mm-hmm.
because we are not getting to be judged on what we do, but
Mm-hmm.
we are getting to be judged on how we look or how we maybe uh, how do we interact with people. So people would be quick to say acha, all right,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's manageable,
Mm-hmm.
approachable, so they
Mm-hmm.
look at you in a very negative manner. So this bias, when it comes into picture, this is a
Mm-hmm.
big challenge. And the
Absolutely.
second challenge, of course, when we talk about the Indian setups, so obviously, the big challenge is that many a times I have seen the women are not supporting other women.
Yeah, that envy
So
feeling.
sometimes this happens. It could be again in your family, it could be at workplace. But we have seen that women sometimes do not support the other women. So these two barriers are the biggest barriers according to me.
I think, ma'am, very relevant and very realistic points you have mentioned. Very relevant. And on one side, we are talking about collaboration, but other side, we are talking about wherein women are not supporting the other women. And that's all. I mean, that is what we are talking about, breaking the barriers.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So the stereotype setting of the society, I would say, uh, again, often as you mentioned out, the patriarchal setup is still there. So women is trying to break that barrier, but I would say and I would suggest that rather male and female and all the females also and all the males, I think they should come together and together remove that barrier rather than breaking that barrier.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And as you mentioned out, the concept of parity need to be introduced, not the equality.
Yes.
And I think women, I mean, in job place, we have seen that women even don't negotiate for their salaries also. Maybe they are working for 2 years, 3 years. They don't ask for promotions. They don't look out for recognition. They're not
That's
claiming
true.
their own efforts. So that speaking
Exactly.
out, I mean, it's lacking. The reason could
Yes.
be n number. It could be countless. but that is the current, or that is the actual scenario.
Exactly.
So,
And
ma'am, yeah.
yes,
No,
Ankita.
please
So on
say,
that
please say.
note, in fact, what you are mentioning is correct, that sometimes women do not understand, do not realize their self-worth, like you
Mm-hmm.
are mentioning. So because we underestimate ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and when we underestimate ourselves, we do not look for that raise, even though we are sure that we should be getting one, but
Mm-hmm.
we dare not ask. Sometimes because we want to fit into that good girl
Mm-hmm.
image, and sometimes because we want to fit into that image where we don't want to listen to a no.
Mm-hmm.
So we think that we are not worth anything. We are not worth what others are getting. Like you rightly mentioned, yes, this is again something which is a challenge for women.
Absolutely, ma'am. And I think they don't claim anything. They take time to claim.
True.
Okay. So, any specific, this is a very specific question out of your personal experience, if you want to share that any kind of stereotypical barrier if you have faced, and how you have actually combated that barrier.
Ankita, fortunately in my case, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I never faced a lot of barriers
Mm-hmm.
because I have a very supporting family. My father is an academician, so he is a retired dean and professor, and my uncles, everybody was working. So some of them maybe in administrative services, some are doctors
Mm-hmm.
that way. And when I got married, so my husband is very, very supportive. He's a chartered accountant himself, but thoroughly supportive. My in-laws, for that matter. So my extended family also is very, very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And only then we can break a lot of barriers. Because only when you are empowered at home, you can be empowered at work too. And fortunately,
Absolutely.
at work also, like if it is an organization like Daily College,
Mm-hmm.
you would be actually, it's very surprising and very nice to hear that at
Mm-hmm.
the school level also it is being led by a lady. And at the college level also it's being led by a lady. So we can see a lot of women empowerment here. The junior school head also is a lady. So if
Mm-hmm.
we look at Daily College, we find that yes, the women leadership is very,
Mm-hmm.
very prominent. So
Mm-hmm.
I have really not faced any stereotypical things here.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I do hear from people that what are the typical things that happen to
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And in most of the cases, I find that they do not have the courage to ask for something. It could be a raise, it could be a good position. So many a times you have to learn to say a yes also along with a no. So the ladies
Correct.
have to understand when to say a no and when to say a yes.
Mm-hmm.
When to raise the hand is important. That yes, I can. And
Absolutely.
you have to have that ability in
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Only then the people are going to look up to you and listen to you and give a chance to you. So the
Mm-hmm.
women need to come up saying that yes, the show of hand is very important. That yes, I can, I will, I can, I will.
Mm-hmm. 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 Very nice. I think that's a very good message to all women out there. So you need to demarcate where to say yes, no, and then of course, then only things will come into. And then support, of course, is needed. And you're, I mean, you were lucky enough. I am lucky enough to get a supportive family and people around me, friends, family, everybody. But yes, when we see the other people, as I was talking about Malala or Oprah Winfrey, who has a childhood disaster, and then Indra Nui. I mean, they were not that much lucky, I would say. And then they have to really
Exactly.
break those barriers at both personal and professional front.
Correct. That
So,
happens.
ma'am,
Yeah.
yeah. So my next question is, ma'am, how can female or women leverage their own unique experiences and perspectives to drive innovation?
See, like we were talking just now,
Mhm.
that when one woman is going to be lifting other women,
Mhm.
half of our job is done. So collaboration, networking is very important. You must have often seen that men are very good at networking, women are not.
Correct.
Because we again have set a stereotype
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, if women go out more, that means we are not a good lady.
Mm-hmm.
But networking is important.
Very
When you
nice.
network, you also realize your net worth, which I
Mm-hmm.
always keep saying. So
Mm-hmm.
this net worth will enable you to understand what is your forte, what are your strengths,
Mm-hmm.
how can you use these
Mm-hmm.
strengths together. And many a times you must have seen that there are certain areas in which women are very comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
each other. So in
Absolutely.
these particular areas, if you are able to collaborate, then as I said, half of the battle is won already.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that yes, together we can. And
Absolutely.
it is phenomenal to see the ladies, especially in our city, the kind of job they are doing now. You know, the entire organizations nowadays are being managed by women,
Mm-hmm.
and I attend programs for so many of them, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually see that behind that women's forum, there are men who are supporting them, who come applaud for their wives, which is such a good sight. So
Amazing.
this
I think
tells us
applaud for
that
those men.
for those men, exactly. And that is why I always say that men are our allies, they are not our enemies.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we have to consider.
Yeah, that's one of my question, which I will be
Okay,
asking you.
yes,
Yeah. Beautiful. It was lovely that network is net worth, and it's high time that women should understand the importance of networking also. And
correct,
we can see we can attain, I mean, we can multiply what we can attain just by networking
exactly.
correctly. Yeah. So, ma'am, you are a mentor, right? And you have been part of a lot of forums and associations. So there is a power of mentorship, right? So for this context, when we are talking about breaking the barriers, then how do you think mentorship is going to play a crucial role in breaking these barriers and allowing the females to attain the excellence or pinnacle of success?
When we talk about this word or when we say this word mentor,
Mhm,
that itself is so empowering, isn't it?
mhm, mhm,
Mentor means you're able to do something good to the lives of others.
mhm,
When this feeling of compassion comes into you, when this feeling of maybe taking the world along comes into you, you become the leader. See, as a mother, what do? We always want the good of our child, the good
mhm,
of our family, and we put them before us. As a mentor, this is what we have to do. The mentee is somebody who looks up to us. The mentee is somebody who needs to be directed in a possible or in a probable good sense in a direction which is going to lead him or her to his goals. So these goals, if you are able to define the goals for someone else and lead the way,
mhm,
tell them, handhold them a little, empower them a little, and
mhm.
help them reach that particular goal. That is what is mentor.
Definitely.
And in most cases, be it our sports people, be
Mhm,
it even the politicians,
mhm.
most of them have always been mentored by a good mentor. So
True.
as a woman, if I'm able to mentor people, my job
Mhm.
is done. And the
Correct.
results have a very good trickle down effect. So
Mhm,
when I am training or when I am mentoring a mentee, that mentee certainly can mentor. So this trickle down effect is going to be there in
mhm.
society, making all of us much more empowered.
Absolutely. I think mentorship is really important. And for mentor, I mean, it's a satisfaction which he or she achieves because of mentoring. And mentoring, I know they are not just guide, they're philosopher and guides as well. So they're going to support at all the aspects if they are true mentors, for sure. And as you said, that all the prominent people, they have some good mentors, they have a very respectable feeling, and it's always good to be humble always for your mentor. So true that. So, ma'am, we were talking about there are certain organizations or workplaces or job places where there are still not up to the mark for the females, right? They're not shaped in
Mm-hmm.
a manner that they are going to suit the females. Sometimes those organizations have very less number of females. Even they don't have very basic things I've seen, like hygiene and safety things. So they don't have proper even restrooms or washrooms also. That is a very basic thing. I mean, somebody could ask for. They don't get
Yes.
promotions. They don't get all those things. So how do you think such organizations could be reshaped?
Sometimes this realization has to come from within.
Mhm.
When such organizations are existing, which are denying opportunities to women,
Mhm.
which are denying a good work environment for
Mhm.
women. So at the end of the day,
Mhm.
these organizations do not follow the good practices
Mhm.
or the basic practices also.
Mhm.
So there are, of course, certain rules the government has put in place
Mhm.
which should be used to tell such people that this is what you are denying. This I am talking in terms of the legal
Mhm.
perspective. But again, what
Mhm.
happens is we have also seen examples where women were maybe given the opportunities but not the support.
Mhm.
So many a times, if a lady wins a case against an organization, so the organization is going to be hiring that lady
Mhm.
or maybe promoting that lady also, but not extending the kind of support they should be doing. So this is where the real fight will be taking place.
Mhm.
And that is where women need support. From whom? If not the organization, that then at least the like-minded people.
Mhm.
So such people should be always there with you.
Mhm.
And that will happen when you have the backing, when you have the networking, when you are
Mhm.
associated with forums. We
Mhm.
have number of women forums these days that are actively helping
Mhm.
such people, such
Mhm.
ladies. So we have to learn to reach out to these people.
Mhm.
This is very, very important. And like I always say, that we should not be sitting there crying only. As
Mhm.
a lady, you should not be shielding yourself from the world. That will not be of any help. You have
Mhm.
to come out in public. If there is a
Correct.
problem that you are facing, put it across. But
Mhm.
there's no need to be rude always. And do
Mhm.
not cry over everything. Many a time when you cry, people think or they consider you to be weak.
Mhm.
So all your good work again goes
Mhm.
into vain.
Mhm.
Because people say that okay, she's just another
Mhm.
lady who's busy shedding the
Uh-huh.
tears. So what is important is that we have to learn to
Mhm.
set boundaries, number one.
Mhm.
What is
Mhm.
it that is acceptable to us? What is it that is not acceptable to us? If there is something which is not acceptable to us, reach out,
Mhm.
raise your voice. And
Mhm.
there are people to help you with
Mhm.
it. Certainly there are.
Absolutely, ma'am. It's a very valid point that, of course, women need. I mean, nothing will happen overnight. We have to start raising voices so that our generations in future will have a better things around them, because things are very better now as compared to the way our mother generation or grandparents used to
Yeah,
have. So I think things have started changing, and of course, reshaping might take a lot of time, but it will happen for sure.
it will happen. Yes, we are keeping our fingers crossed at that.
Absolutely, and it's going to happen. I think both male and female will remove the shield together, as that's better than breaking. So,
Correct.
my next question, ma'am, is how can man? I mean, you were talking about that men supports the female.
Yes.
So, how can men and how can they do it? I mean, how can men allies with the championing of leadership roles of female and help her to excel?
See, like I was saying earlier, that men have to be our
Mm-hmm.
allies and we have to consider them as one.
Mm-hmm.
Many a time you must have seen that, especially with the household chores,
Mm-hmm.
if our boys or if our husbands come to us and they want to do something, we refuse. We tell them no. Why? Because we think either they're going to take a lot of time, they're going to spoil the things, and they are going to be dirtying the house.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why we decide that all that work also should be taken care by us also.
Mm-hmm.
But just see how things have changed over time. Earlier, women were only managing the home and men
Mm-hmm.
were going out. Now, when as women, as working women, we have taken the charge that we would also be now going out and doing some work or doing some job, then the same delegation now has to be done in case of men also. So,
Mm-hmm.
an effective delegation is the key. You have to learn to talk to the men around nicely and tell them that yes, this is something that I do and this is something that you do. Because now I'm also taking the charge of the house expenses.
Mm-hmm.
So women should not be saying that this is my money, so I'll keep it for myself. Because
Mm-hmm.
your husband never says this to you. Does he? No. So if he can share the household expenses, you should be also ready.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, then the
Mm-hmm.
men around you will be ready to help you with the household chores as
Mm-hmm.
well. The same goes at workplace also. Many a time
Mm-hmm.
when it's a female leader or a woman leader is there, so then she becomes very, very resistant. So
Mm-hmm.
she is not open to criticism. She does not want the male members or the male subordinates to come up to her and say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is in resilience, not in resistance. What is resilience? Resilience is something where I come back. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, maybe I don't feel bad about everything that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this is a workplace. So the same treatment which is being given to a male employee, that should be given to me as well. Why should I be seeking favors just because I'm a lady? So when the men around you understand that yes, she is not going to be a crybaby or she is not going to be seeking
Mm-hmm.
favors which are not desired, then they will happily and very, very happily support. So
Okay.
learn
Very
to
nice.
delegate and resilience is very, very important. Even if
Good.
sometimes they are bad to you, if
Mm-hmm.
they are your critic, you have to handle that. You have to learn to handle that as well.
So I think, ma'am, you want to say that women also have to change in order to allow changes around her, right? So
True,
very
true,
rightly
true, true. We
said that
can't
she.
be living, we can't be, yes, we can't be living in a cocoon that I'm best, nobody should be my critic, and just because I'm a lady, I'm good. No,
Mm-hmm.
that is
Right.
not true. You
Yeah, and
have to be open to criticism as well.
very well said that parity should not be just on the side of women, it has to happen on the side of men also.
Yes,
So if she is
correct.
working, I mean, she should equally contribute to the expenses. It should not be like this money or the other money. Very beautiful, very lovely. And that is
Exactly.
actually going to impart a correct parity in the society and community.
Very true.
So, ma'am, what changes or initiatives would you like to suggest in order to accelerate the process of gender equality and parity at the professional level as well?
Right. See, now that we as women, we decide to lead the way. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to empower
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. We have 24 hours
Mm-hmm.
like everyone else has. So we have to learn to prioritize. When we talk about prioritizing, self care is equally important.
Mm-hmm.
So your professional life, your personal life, and personal or the family life, and the self care. All three are important. If you are working, when you reach the workplace, then you should not be complaining about what is happening at your home.
Mm-hmm.
Do not look for sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
Do not do that.
Mm-hmm.
When you are coming to work, you should be 100% professional,
Mm-hmm.
like you expect the men to be.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing I always advise the women, that
Mm-hmm.
you should be 100% professional. Whatever you talk, whatever you discuss, it should be having a professional flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Only then you are able to set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, you have to learn to set the boundaries at
Mm-hmm.
workplace.
Mm-hmm.
You should know what is it that you can manage and what is it that maybe you're not very good at managing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you understand your
Mm-hmm.
strengths, then you can be doing certain things in the best possible manner. And the ones that you're not able to do, it is okay. Just say that,
Right.
okay, this is something that I might not be able to do as well as I would be able to handle the other things. And therefore,
Absolutely.
what is going to happen would be that you will have a very professional stand at your workplace. People will not take you for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, work on your skills.
Mm-hmm.
Communication, of course, is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to present yourself, your ideas very well. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have one good idea, work on it. If
Mm-hmm.
there's an important meeting at workplace, be prepared for it. Do not come up with an excuse कि घर पे ये problem था, बच्चा रो रहा था, or anything like this. If you've taken up
Yeah.
a challenge, live up to it. Then do not expect that people should be extending favors to you. So if there's a meeting coming up, be prepared. If there's an agenda that you think, an idea that needs to be developed or
Mm-hmm.
executed, work
Mm-hmm.
towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And always have a flow.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that you want that particular thing to be taken across? Then certainly everybody will pay heed to you. And then execution is the key. If you're
Mm-hmm.
able to handle one job well, one particular task well, one project well,
Mm-hmm.
then people will happily give you other projects too. And then you can step or climb up the ladder, like you were mentioning about Indra Nooyi. So in her case, this is how the journey has been. She
Mm-hmm.
started at a very small level, at a very junior level, but see, she got so many chances, and very soon she was at the top of her game. And even if we look
Correct.
at people around us, this is what we see.
Mm-hmm.
So one little success will lead you to many more such successes.
Mm-hmm.
And always have that self-worth concept intact. That yes,
Right.
I'm worth something, but that worth will come only when you have the desired skills, aptitude, and the ability to carry it forward.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, ma'am. And I think that tussle is going on somewhere deep down in a lot of females. On one side, they are striving to know their worth, prove their worth, but at the same time, as you mentioned out, there is not complete dedication or devotion when it comes to their working timing at the job place because of the personal circumstances. Even the organization are not able to do well also because of few things happening all around. So I think being professional is something which you are suggesting for all females. If you're doing your job for 10 to 6, 10 to 5, whatever, I mean, it should be pure dedication. And that's my next question, and I think you are quite expert in talking on that, because you said you talked about communication also here, which is very important for everybody and for females also, and work life balance, ma'am. So
Yes,
the
yes,
true leader is not only assertive, not only decisive, not only she understands about her team, but he or she is also balancing her work life and her routine life, right? The personal life. So, ma'am, what is this actually in real terms, and how it could be achieved easily?
correct. See, when we are talking about being assertive, I certainly believe in being firm. But at the same time, I have to be flexible also.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to decide decide which are the areas in which I have to be firm and which are the areas in which I have to be flexible.
Right. Very
So
correct.
when I have a job up my sleeve,
Mhm.
I have to be very firm.
Mhm.
I have to give my whole, more than
Mhm.
100% wholeheartedly. I have to work towards.
Mhm.
I have to be flexible in my approach
Mhm.
because sometimes one particular way might not lead to the end result that you were wanting.
Mhm.
So we have to be flexible because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, what matters most to me would be the achievement of the goal. So the way could be varying.
Mhm.
So sometimes I might need to collaborate,
Mhm.
sometimes I might need to delegate,
Yeah.
sometimes I might not need to micromanage everything. As a woman manager, I have realized that micromanagement should not be done. We want to be
Very true.
everywhere,
Hmm.
be it home or otherwise. And what happens is that we feel very happy about doing it. So
Mhm.
there's a sense of pride that मेरे बिना तो घर का पत्ता भी नहीं हिल सकता. There's nothing to be happy about it.
Right.
Same in the organization also.
Mhm.
Everybody should understand that if you become a micromanager, then you're
Mhm.
not doing the things that you're expected to do, but you are
Mhm.
doing mundane things which anybody else can do for
Mhm.
you. Why not? So do not indulge into any kind of micromanagement,
Mhm.
please. This is another very, very important thing for a good work-life balance.
Mhm.
Like I said, we have
Right.
24 hours, and among those 24 hours, we have to decide what is it where we have to be firm and what is it where we have to be flexible.
Mhm. It's so lovely, ma'am, that women need to have both the things, need to be very firm, very decisive, very assertive, at the same time, the flexibility concept. So, and this it should vary according to the circumstances and need also, and time also.
Correct.
So, my
Correct.
last question, as if now, because Bring Your Own Sunshine always tries to take out something. What is that one golden nugget or word of wisdom from your side which viewers should have?
I say that don't stop till you are proud. Don't
Mhm.
stop till you are proud of yourself, of your team, and of the people around.
Mhm.
Your behavior and the way you interact with people is always determined mostly by the people you live with. So people say that, okay, the five people with whom you interact the most or you spend your maximum time, you get their attributes, you get their qualities. So if we talk about a single entity, we are actually not one person. We are one person plus those five, six more people who are around us. So our happiness should always be including those people. So that inclusivity is very important. For me, an individual success is
Mhm.
not important. What is most important is when people around me are happy, when people around me are successful,
Mhm.
when we are able to achieve the goals in lump sum, in togetherness. So that is what it should be, and that is what makes me most proud.
And that is actually the trait of a true leader, ma'am. So all in all, I mean, women are trying, and I mean, she will be doing, and she is actually doing. She's breaking a lot of barriers. She's empowering herself, and of course, the people around her. She's chasing her dreams. She is doing amazing, balancing her work and life balance. She's claiming her own rights, what she deserves, and at the same time, she's raising her voice against any kind of disparity. And she is women of today. So big salute to all the women out there who is trying to excel in their own field. And I think with few things which you suggested, if they start incorporating, I think nothing like that, and things will be more beautiful, and they will be all at place. So thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful time. We almost have session of 1 hour. I mean,
Oh my
but I'm
God.
sure. I mean, this was so intellectual conversation. It was so Good. I also lost time and I was 1 hour. It was so engaging.
Sorry.
It was so engaging. So thank you, ma'am,
All
for
right.
your time. And
Thank
at
you.
last,
Thank
as
you.
women, yeah, as women achieve power, all barriers will fail. So the women need to be empowered, and she will definitely break the barriers. So thank you for your time, ma'am.
Yes, and one last thing I would say is that as women, we should advocate for ourselves. So let's do that, and together we will rock.
I'm
Thank
in with you, ma'am,
you.
100%.
Lovely.
So my
Lovely
first thumbs up
talking to
goes
you.
to you.
Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you.
Right,
Thank you.
right.
Bye.
So I'm sure there were a lot of good points to take from today's session from Dr. Sonal Sisodia Mam, who is a management maestro. And this session will be available on our post as well, on Mam's page also and my page also. If you have missed out, then of course you can go through it. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your time again.
Thank you. Lovely talking to you. Bye-bye.
Same here,
Bye.
ma'am.